What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for another episode of Tropico 5. I'm happy to have you here with me as we play the game one more time. One of my longtime favorite series. We've got a quest to handle, so let's handle that quest.
Workers of Tropico, unite! It is time to show the world that we can achieve any goal, despite the imperialist crown's oppression.
Okay, and so we have a quest to export 3,000 cotton. We are 100% going to take that because we're doing it anyways, so we might as well hit two birds with one stone. Was there ever a guy that actually did that? I think I said this in another episode, but was there ever a guy that threw a rock, bounced it off one thing, hit another thing with it, and then was like, you know what, this would make a great saying? If there was, I applaud that guy because that's a lot harder than it sounds. We've got a little bit of time on our hands, so I'm going to research newspaper first. After that, we'll research the Constitution. The Constitution is going to allow us to declare our right to be free, by the way, but we can only do that if we have 50% approval. Until we have 50% approval, we can't even highlight the option. It's just, you can't do it. On one side of the island, so why is everybody unhappy right now? Let's find out. Entertainment. I forgot about entertainment. So let's go ahead and see if we can make people a little bit happier. We can go with luxury entertainment. We do have a bunch of educated citizens, so let's go ahead and deploy ourselves an opera house right there. Coincidentally, it'll also bulldoze this poor bastard shack, but you've got to make way for classy entertainment. Well, I could put it right there, or I could put it next to the library so that we've got kind of a Sunset Strip thing going on right here, where all the good things happen on this street behind the palace. Let's do that. It's going to be expensive, so it's going to use up probably about 40% of our cash. I didn't see what it was before. I think it was about 4,000. I think we were sitting at 16,000, so I think it did cost us quite a bit of money to get this deployed, but in the interest of making people happy, El Presidente, El Gato del Splatter, will spare no resource.
I understand you've begun mining operations, my good chum. I am sure your island holds even more hidden riches.
I don't know if we even have a mine. I'll take the quest just in the off chance that there's a mine around here. So there's a mine way over there. It's a bauxite deposit, which means we're going to be able to get aluminum out of it, but that's pretty far away. There's one right there. I'm hoping for gold, uranium, and oil. Those are like the big ones right there. If you have a uranium deposit, nobody will mess with you because you got to nukes. And so if you can drop nukes on people. I'm not seeing any oil deposits though either. That's bad. That's really bad. We could really use oil in order to twist people's arms once we get into the future. Right now, not a big thing to concern ourselves with, but it is kind of a big deal. Let's go ahead and increase the cost of living right there. And then I say we would also consider putting in a couple of taverns just here and there to make sure that the low-class people are happy too. Putting in a pub. We'll put one pub on each side of town so that, as I said in my stream, they can watch football and then get in fights. They'd be like, our team is better. Our team is better. The team from my side of town is clearly the superior team. And you are a bastard for thinking otherwise. We'll put this one over here, I guess. And then I might put in a row of mansions as well, so that people that are making a little bit of money can actually live in nicer houses. So we'll put in kind of these little Banana Republic mansions right here. They're expensive, but we'll put in a couple just in case there's anybody that can make that amount of scratch, so that they can live in luxury by comparison to the rest of the citizenry. Although, to be honest, if you take a look at these houses, for the 1500s, 1600s, these are not terrible houses. For the colonial period, these houses are pretty sweet, so I'm not going to hate on them. We're going to go ahead and, I said hoe ahead. I don't want to hoe ahead. I don't think that I would be very good at that. I'm not very good looking, so hoeing would not be the best job for me, unless you're talking about just doing it out in a field, and then yes, that would probably be the proper allocation for my looks, is to put me out in a field somewhere and just forget about me. We're going to take the educated citizens right there. That was us completing our cotton export mission.
It seems that the Crown's ambitious Fruit for Health program didn't work quite as well as expected. His Majesty stated that the plan was too ahead of its time.
Okay, and so I'm going to go with the mandate extension. The money would be useful, but the mandate extension I think is going to do us a little bit better. And when it comes to getting done, I would prefer quality over quantity. We have $22,000, which for the colonial period is actually quite frankly insane. I believe that I am going to expand our industry even further since we have the cash to do so. Our logging camp is doing great over here. Can we upgrade that at all? No. I want to do reforestation, but we can't get that until the World Wars. We got to wait on that upgrade, unfortunately. Can we do anything with this right here? No, we can't do anything with it. Can we upgrade any of these buildings?
Presidente, after suffering 1,000 paper cuts, we have invented paper. It has print on it, where there will be a summary of important affairs, interviews with important Tropicans, and a page with political editorials. This will give a voice to every Tropican. Also, going to the little Presidente's room will be much more comfortable from now on.
What are you trying to say about me, Penultimo? You been looking through that hole in the stall? Never mind. Let's move on. I want to put in a newspaper right now because this is one of the few times I've ever had the money to just kind of use discretion. Usually at this point in the game, I don't have the discretionary income that I have right now, and so I'm actually really, really tempted just to spend like crazy. I'm going to put in a grocery right here to distribute food to my citizens, help them be a little bit happier. We need to start our research, which is going to be on the Constitution, because that's a very, very important thing. We need that, so we need to get started on it. I'm also going to put in some ranches over on this side, which I had thought about previously, but had not done. I do goats, but I'd rather do cattle, to be honest. The cattle supply you with a better... They give you 2 things instead of 1, and while I think the other things give you the supply in larger bulk of that singular one thing, I would rather have a couple of them. So let's put in a couple of cattle farms right here, cattle ranches. And then I should also consider doing some exploration up this way. We're going to try and discover that mine over there. Hopefully we don't get attacked the moment that we do this. I've left a big old block of guard towers. It's going to take anybody that invades us a long time to get all those guard towers taken care of, so that should give our elite infantry the time to get back in the case that they actually break through all of this. I don't think that they will. You can't really command your infantry. They just sort of respond to different threats on their own, so be aware of that. This is not an RTS where you can be like, you, go attack this group. You, go attack this group. You might be able to. I haven't discovered it. I've tried every combination of clicking and doing other things, and they just appear to do whatever the hell they want. Which is fine. This is Tropico. That's what Tropico's all about. I'm El Presidente, and I do whatever the hell I want all the time, so how can I blame my citizens for it? I'm going to expand them out slightly. How's our happiness looking right now? We're at 43%. We have 7 people who are unemployed that'll be taken care of by the new cattle ranch population. Homeless is at 11, so we need some more houses. Healthcare is non-existent. We can't have healthcare until the next era, so it's something that we have no remedy for. We're going to take the... I could take the personal gift at this point. We don't really need the mandate extension, but we'll take it, just to give ourselves some extra breathing room. We'll also go through and in our welfare and media, we're going to put in a couple of Catholic missions. And I don't think those are going to fit anywhere that I want them to fit. So unfortunately, when it does not fit, it does not sit. So I think... Oh, that works out okay. We'll put it right there. So we've got the Catholic mission right there. That'll help us get a little bit of religious happiness. We need a couple more houses. Is anybody actually living in these mansions? Oh, good. People are living in the mansions. Awesome. We're going to make it so that filthy, stinking rich people can live there. I don't know why people start to stink once they get filthy rich. It's like a side effect of the money or something. I'm not really sure. I've never questioned the saying. However, if you are filthy and you stink and you are rich, we have houses for you. Welcome to Tropico. I usually don't build too many churches because they require high school educated people in order to work there, and they don't really give you that much of a positive benefit by comparison. Hey, we put the pub right next to the church so you can sin on Friday and Saturday and then go repent on Sunday. That was a joke that my parents used to say at our church because there was a bar next door to ours as well, so you could sin on Saturday, pray on Sunday or something like that's what they used to say. Anyways, that's how the running joke goes. I should probably do a bit more with our exports right now. Industry's not going to be available until we have electricity, so right now we're sort of just waiting for the rebellion to happen, although since we're ahead of the game, I would prefer to stay there. I don't want to mess around and find myself falling behind. A military fort might be a good idea. Where said fort should go, I'm not really of any opinion about it. It could honestly be deployed just about anywhere, and I'd be alright. I mean, the smartest place to put it would be over here somewhere, so that when the road comes over, you kind of want to orchestrate your military so that when you get when I get attacked, what's going to happen is we'll deploy infantry from here, we'll deploy infantry from the fort. We want them to arrive at the same time so that we don't have like a trickle force thing going on that ends up with us getting killed. That's basically what you're striving to accomplish right there. So I have no opinion about where the fort could go. I would honestly deploy it just about anywhere. Over here, though, would probably be the best call. or give it a little bit of room and put it back here or back here, so that's about the same distance from the dock as everything else. I don't know. It's a tough call. We do have a little bit of space right here. I could conceivably think about deploying it right here on the outskirts of town, but it would look kind of funny. So maybe we'll go right here. And so now we have a military fort, which is going to supply us with an extra squad of troops. Not a bad thing to have, because we are going to have to defend our sovereignty at some point. Someone will come knocking and trying to take it from us.
We, the leaders of the Tropican nation, in our desire to put into words the will of the Tropican people to follow and obey the laws of the state and maintain the traditional universal Tropican values of liberty, peace, love, understanding, siesta, and hidden Swiss bank accounts, do hereby sign the first legitimate constitution of Tropico.
And there it is. We've got our first constitution created. Now, we can't declare that until we have a 50% approval rating. We gotta wait. So we're just gonna continue plugging on ahead with our research. So I guess we'll do red tape right now, which is gonna be the final research that we can accomplish without being in the World War period. I may have overestimated a little bit with regards to the amount of time we needed. I was probably better off either taking the cash or taking the Swiss bank account on this one, but little mistakes. Little mistakes. Let's go ahead and ensure our future with regards to housing. I'm actually going to spend a ton of money dropping houses in right now. So that's going to give us another 9 houses. That should keep us well stocked on places for people to live for a long, long time. So that should be okay. The fort's going to take a while to build because it's enormous. And past there, we needed a newspaper. That was the other thing. I'm going to try and leave a slot for the police department because this is going to be... Actually, let's get rid of this pig farm.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Governor, the island is ripe for revolution.
Okay, and so our approval rating is high enough right now to where we can declare ourselves free of the crown. Now, I'm not going to do that right now. This will stay here even if our approval rating drops. So if we click on this, we declare war on the king, basically, and he'll either...
The revolutionaries are demanding that you insult the king.
Okay, and so we're going to insult the king.
The best way to insult the king would be to seduce his queen. That is obvious.
I am all about... There's a right choice here and there's a wrong choice. This can work out in a number of hilarious ways. We can either write her a poem, we can give her a gift, or we can send Penultimo to sell... I'm going to do that one, because in the worst case, it gets Penultimo killed.
Oh, I am the very model of a modern Major General.
Alright, so the queen was impressed by him. However, she doesn't seem to be well in the head. She kept talking about no one sending her a pet monkey before. She gave him some money and sent him away. Okay, cool. Awesome. That works out. As long as the king doesn't get mad at us. That's all that I care about. We also want to make sure the second all these houses are done that we reallocate the budget funds so that people can live in them and be happy and have awesome living situations. One by one, they get completed. We're at about 150 right now, so it may be time to expand our construction workers and our teamsters as well. I try to do one group of teamsters and one group of construction workers for every 100 citizens. So once we hit 200, that'll be the time that I'll try and ramp up our construction rate. There we are. The budget has been adjusted. How are our exports doing right now? Are they holding up in the face of everything else that's going on? They are indeed. We are actually doing very, very well with regards to the money that we have available to spend. Let me put another road down right here. That seems to be okay. And I don't really think that there's any problem with dropping yet another farm out this way. It seems like a good plan. Maybe we'll actually be able to... So what do we have right now? We have plantations, sugar, cotton, we have pineapple, coffee. So we have just about everything at the moment. I would love to get cocoa in here, a cacao. I would love to have that around somewhere. Tobacco would be nice as well, and it looks like we've got the perfect little slot for it here. I might go for the tobacco then, because tobacco can be very, very worthwhile. A second cotton field is not going to be feasible right now. We can try. Actually, yeah, let's drop a cotton field right there, because we'll be able to start a textile industry based off this later on. And then with a second plantation that we're going to drop, we're going to go after... Let's go after cocoa. Oh, no, cocoa's even worse over there. Okay. Well, we can do coffee again. We can do more pineapples. Bananas, not so much. Corn will grow just about anywhere. Although, surprisingly, we have one of the few islands I've ever seen that can't grow corn. How much sugar do I have? I have 1 coffee, I have 1 pineapple, I have 1 sugar, I have 2 cotton.
We have invented red tape. It goes well with everything, and there is no limit to this stuff. People are going crazy over it. Lines are forming to get more of it. It almost seems like it is trying to grow bigger and bigger, all on its own.
Okay, so back to what we were doing. We just finished off our research, by the way, in case you didn't catch the memo right there with what he was talking about. We want to make sure that we have enough. So basically 2 farms is typically enough to supply 1 industry. So we've got 2 cotton plantations. That should be enough for us to open a textile factory. We have 1 sugar plantation, not enough for a rum factory. We have 1 pineapple plantation and 1 coffee. These 2 can go to the cannery, so that'll be okay. I would say that our best option is probably to go with another sugar plantation if we can manage it. It's looking slightly okay over here. However, the better spot for it would be right here. Yeah, let's drop another sugar plantation right there. And then we'll connect this road. And we'll call it a dia. Awesome. This playthrough is going exceedingly well. If you're not familiar with Tropico, typically the earlier aspects of the game are a lot more rough than they are right now. But we're doing a great job at making sure that things are all in the place that they need to be. I would usually suggest, since we've got the money, let's go ahead and deploy a few more guard towers just to keep ourselves safe in the case of an invasion. Because we will be fielding one very, very soon. But since we've got so much time to burn with regards to our mandate, I'm not going to declare a revolution when I get to be in power by default for another 3 years. That means I'm just starting the next phase of the game way too early. And so basically I would be giving up 3 years of relative safety from being voted out of office. I want to demolish that pig farm too. I don't want that there anymore. It's in the middle of my town, and I want to put something right there that's going to be of much better use, like a police department or something. I'm going to put in a newspaper, which is going to increase our freedom. And I think that's going to be a great spot for it right there. It is going to require workers that are educated. Nonetheless, I think it should be alright. Just based on the fact that we have a lot of them backstocked, I think.
Looks like the buried treasures I was told about were actually natural treasures. Still, any kind of treasure is better than no treasure.
I agree. So we have a couple of mines. We have a bauxite mine. What is this over here? An iron mine. Okay, so that'll be useful later on. I'll probably save the iron mine until the World War period so that we can be ironmongers and we can export weapons and things to all the countries that are fighting in Europe. How are we doing out here? Let's increase that budget, get you guys working. And we'll go with fiber fertilization, obviously, to make sure that everything is plugging away at optimal efficiency. We'll mechanize our farm over here. I can't imagine that we have that many people who are homeless. We have 12 homeless people. Okay. A little bit unexpected right there, but we'll go for it. We'll see if we can handle it. I need to put in some roads, though. Let's continue to segment out our city until we get that all sorted out. So the next thing we need is going to be houses. Let's go ahead and start with a few more country houses out here. There we are. And that's going to be about all the spending I can get away with for right now. We've got 1 month until our next freighter comes in, and we are in the red, so we want to take a little bit of time out and just hang. Just hang for a minute. Just be out there like that, you know, the old poster that was pre-internet with the cat that's just hanging on the wire or whatever. Just hang out for a little bit. That's all that we have time to do. Luckily, the game has a fantastic soundtrack, although I don't think it's quite as good as Tropico 3's. I think it's at the same level as Tropico 4's, but Tropico 3, by my interpretation, had the 100% best soundtrack that I've ever heard in a Tropico game. There's our money. We're still going to want to hang tight for a little bit. We're still just going to want to chill for a few minutes because we don't have enough money right now to really kind of go balls to the wall with construction. I think putting your balls to the wall is sort of, and ladies, if you don't have that, you can just work with what you have. I want everyone to be included here. I want the Nerdcastle to be all-inclusive. So whatever you have, you can put it on the wall. That's totally fine. But I think it's like a sort of good luck charm. I'm not really sure how it works. I think it's just voodoo magic or something. But putting your balls on the wall seems, in some respects, to help things occur at a better rate. So I don't question. Hey, none of that. Ew. Road construction is still sketchy in this game. That is one thing I will say has never quite been fixed entirely in Tropico. The road construction can still be a little bit weird. Alright, with that, the newspaper, we're going to put that up to max. Everything is maxed out, am I correct? I am indeed not correct, which is pretty much the way things always work out in my life. I'd be kind of bummed out if I lived in a mansion and I had to look out the back window at a cattle farm. That would suck, because they smell super bad. There's cattle ranches where I live, and if the wind is going in the right direction, your eyebrows will actually just fall right off. The smell is so bad that they just go poof, and they fall off your forehead. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Everybody here walks around without eyebrows, and when somebody doesn't have eyebrows, you're almost positive something is wrong, but you can't quite figure out what it is. Like, you sit there and you're like, there's something... What's going on here? I think, who said that? That was a comedian. Some comedian said that, and I can't remember who. I always try and give credit where credit's due when I have, like, a bit of humor that I'm almost positive came from somebody else, because, like, biting humor is a terrible, terrible thing to do. Stealing humor from somebody else, very, very shady. Don't do it. How many more ranches can I put over here? I think I could get away with a couple more ranches. We're almost at 200 people as well, so I should probably put in another Teamster's office, although this one will be closer to this side of town. And then we'll also put in a construction office because we have the money to do so, and it'll be somewhat closer to this side of town as well, because we're going to be expanding out in this direction. All of our inner city stuff's going to go this way, I hope. I may send, well, I don't know. Our mandate has 1 year left, so let's wait for a couple more export cycles, and then I think at the end of this episode, in a couple minutes, we'll go ahead and declare our freedom. I want to have a few more ranches. We can go llamas right here, or no, we can go goats. I wanted to have llamas around somewhere to supplement my textile industry. I'm not feeling like there's a lot of space for them. Basically, I use ranches. If I don't have enough space for a big farm, I just use ranches. That's kind of my rule of thumb here. Just can't seem to squeeze it in here. Alright, well, we'll go with one right there. And that should put an end to most of our ranching needs for right now. We're exporting such massive quantities of everything that we are in really, really good shape when it comes to the amount of money we're going to have going into the World War period. I haven't decided if we're going to side with the Axis or the Allies just yet. I'm going to watch and wait and see how things play out. If they play out, you know, one way versus the other, we'll side with the Axis versus the vice versa right there, where we'll go with the Allies. It just kind of depends what opportunities fall in front of us. If the Axis happens to give us an amazing deal on like coal so that we can have power plants and whatnot, we'll go with the Axis. If the Allies do the same thing, we'll go with them. I'm not beholden, or I have no preference. I could side with either or, and it would make me pleased. After this next export, we're going to declare our freedom, by the way. So let's go ahead and we're going to get like $30,000 on our next export spree, so this should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to go into the World War period with money, which is the weirdest thing ever to me because it almost never happens. I'm also going to drop another tavern right now over in this little slot just so people can keep their entertainment needs taken care of. We have a 60% approval rating right now, which is pretty incredible. We only have one guy who's unemployed. We have 15 homeless. I feel like I'm building houses at ridiculous rates, but I think the homeless people are people that aren't like working though or something. Budget-wise, it's fine, as long as people are done with their jobs. All these appear to be filled in. It's just like the newer stuff that doesn't appear to have anybody living in it. So we'll give it a little bit of time. They tend to move in with time. So we have $28,000 right now. Let's go ahead and declare our freedom.
Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Governor, the island is ripe for revolution.
His Majesty is most amused by your declaration of independence.
Okay, and so we have an option right here, and this is going to be available every single time you play the game. You can either A, buy your own freedom, which means you take on $20,000 in debt, and you have to pay that off over the course of like the next 100 years, which takes forever. And sometimes your debt payments, when you pay off your loan, sometimes when they put a lien on your loan or whatever it is, I don't know. I don't know anything about financial stuff, but anyways, when they call in the debt, sometimes they do it at absolutely the worst moment ever where you're already broke and then they call in the debt at the same time. You have no control over when you pay your debt, so we're going to say let them come. And so there it is. And so now you see why I set up all these towers. These guys should get outright butchered. Like this should just be, yeah, they're dying at a very, very rapid rate. This is not the group. This is basically the charge of the Light Brigade right here for them. And so you can see all of our little soldiers fighting down and in here. There is no blood and gore, but I do find the combat to be pretty entertaining. And there it is. We've entered the World War period. Now, I do wish that this transition was a little bit more theatrical. Like, just having that little splash screen, I don't know. It doesn't feel lazy. It just doesn't feel right either. So now we have to set up our constitution. We can do those with regards to 3 different areas. We can go voting rights. With voting rights, I'm going to say that all citizens vote. Because actually, no, not a democratic society. I think I'm going to say wealthy. Actually, it's not really going to matter because everybody in our society is wealthy based on the fact that I've put the budget up so high. So whatever, all citizens vote. They get more happiness out of it or something. Religion and state. We can be a theocracy, we can be a secular state, or we can be a atheist state. Each one of these come with their own benefits and side effects. You get secular state is the only one that doesn't come with a downside. However, its bonus is kind of a little bit lower as well. It increases your liberty happiness. With you have a theocracy, religious buildings will act as police stations, which is actually a lot better than it sounds. Atheist states means that your research goes way, way faster, and then you have less religious citizens, which means you don't have to put up with, you know, building churches all the time and things like that just to make one select group of the population happy. I'm probably just going to go with I don't know. I've never done an atheist state. I've done theocracy and I've done secular, so let's go with an atheist state and just kind of see how it goes. With the armed forces, we have conscription, we have militia, or we have professional army. Conscription is hands down the one you should be going with right here. I have seen no benefit in having... It says that they're more effective and they deal more damage if you go with a professional army. I haven't seen... The combat seems to go just about the same. They still get butchered at the same rate. With militia, they raise 2 squads from each location that have a squad, so basically it doubles your military force. A little bit more useful, but conscription allows you to just have anybody fill in to be military, and that means you can actually bolster your troops just by building more and more and more and more buildings, which is a very, very good thing, because if you have the money, you can just spam out tons of buildings before you get invaded, and it'll save your ass. So we'll go with conscription. And so we have a state in which all citizens may vote, where religion is outlawed, and where conscription is our military method for getting soldiers. And so there it is. This is the Constitution of Tropico by El Gato del Splatter. And so there it is. Let's go ahead and complete that, and I'm going to break the episode off right here. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle for another episode of Tropico 5. I'm so happy to have you here with me. The game is a blast. I love playing it with all of you. I will see you in the next episode. Hi-do, everybody, and I will see you there.